Welcome to this episode of the Harpreet Singh Show. Today is a special episode because today we are remembering our veterans. Being the Remembrance Day, this is a special program in which we're going to get in two guests, one from Halifax and one from White Rock. But before I get both the guests on, we would like to get a short video which tells you as to what is the importance of Remembrance Day. And also a new operation called Operation A Pittance of Time has been initiated by these two gentlemen. So we'll be talking about this in details. So once again, welcome to the program, and let's start off our program with this particular video.
Operation A Pittance of Timers. Mark Burchell of the Canadian Walk for Veterans and I and our teams are inviting you to join us by taking some pictures, maybe some video clips, maybe writing a note about what you have done at 11 a.m. on Remembrance Day. Show the group how creative you have been and how you have chosen to celebrate our freedom and to give thanks and gratitude for our servicemen and women along with the veterans and their families. Thank you so much for all you've done over the last number of days and your participation. And please remember to take a pittance of time.
Please share with us how you take a pittance of time on Remembrance Day.
Their sacrifice, our remembrance. November 11th at the 11th hour.
Welcome, Terry Kelly and Mark Burchell. Welcome to the program.
Pleasure.
Thank you very much
to be here.
Thank you. So before we go forward, I would just like to introduce both of you. Terry Kelly is an honorary colonel of the Royal Canadian Air Force, and he's a country folk music artist and a professional speaker. And he's a strong proponent of the Canadian Armed Forces, and he has a lot of credit to him in the form of various albums which he has brought forward. Also, other guest is Mark Burchell, who is the national co-organizer of the Canadian Walk for Veterans. So welcome to both of you, and on this special day, it's a great honor to have both of you on the show.
Thank you, Harpreet. Great to be here.
Thank you.
Yes.
Terry, I would like to start off with you. Your interest in the Canadian Armed Forces, if you could just give a brief introduction about yourself as to how you are such a strong proponent of the Canadian Armed Forces.
Well, Harpreet, when I was a little boy, ever since I was a little boy, I wanted to fly airplanes. And for some reason, someone thought, well, having someone who's blind flying an airplane might not be such a good idea. Nevertheless, when I went to a school for the blind, and I spent 10 months of every year there. So when I was 7 years old, I left my mom and dad. My family traveled about 1,000 kilometers away to a school. And when I arrived at the school, the people who worked there, the house parents and the teachers, one of the greatest gifts they gave us, Harpreet, was that they never overprotected us. Mm-hmm. And they didn't feel sad or sorry for us because we were blind. And so they taught us to use our gifts so being blind wouldn't be such a difficult thing. And how I became interested in the armed forces is that a lot of the teachers and their house parents were retired Army, Air Force, Navy people. So they became my surrogate parents. Mm-hmm. And so that's, and all through my life, I was very close to them, and I continued to have a dream of being in the Air Force. And finally, I ended up in the Air Force as a result of writing music for the military servicemen and women. Mm-hmm. And someone got the idea to invite me to join the Air Force as an honorary colonel. So I like to say, Harpreet, that I get into the back door.
Wonderful. But that back door also has been a source of inspiration for so many people. That's really commendable. Mark, you're the national co-organizer for the Canadian Walk for Veterans, and we know just recently you organized a big walk, and it's an annual event. So today is a special day. We are remembering our veterans, and especially at 11 o'clock today, all over Canada, we saw, and especially during this pandemic, it was a different kind of event that happened today morning. So what is the significance of today?
Well, the significance of today is really a couple of things. Is one, certainly, and the obvious one is recognizing the our veterans and the sacrifices that they have made through our many conflicts throughout history, but also recently with a new generation of veterans who fought in the Afghan war and in Bosnia and other places throughout the world as peacekeepers. But, Terry and I agree that, and one of the reasons that we've formed the Operation A Pittance of Time is because we need to go even deeper into it and realize what it is we're thanking these people for. And what we're thanking them for and what we're asking Canadians to be grateful for is the very thing that I just said, is that we're Canadians. We live in the greatest country in the world. We live peaceful lives. Great place to raise our children. We don't have to worry about foreign invaders, and so we are grateful for the amazing standard of living that we live in Canada, and we're grateful to those who go to foreign countries and defend our lifestyle.
Absolutely, there's no doubt about it. Terry, how did
And
this
also,
partnership
Harpreet,
come about?
Sorry, again?
How did this partnership come about with the Canadian Walk for Veterans?
Well, Mark, I think you tracked me down, didn't you? Did you? I think you tracked me down a couple of years ago. Go ahead, Mark.
Our team leader in Phillipsburg, Quebec, they play Terry's beautiful song, A Pittance of Time, every Remembrance Day. And they wanted to have Terry out for the Canadian Walk for Veterans, the first one that they did with us. And for some reason it didn't happen. But I called Terry and thought, what we're doing is perfectly aligned with what he's doing and his beautiful music. So I just thought that we should explore the opportunity to maybe do something together. And it took us a year to think about it and to pull it together. But recently at our most recent Canadian Walk for Veterans on September 26th and 27th over the weekend, Terry very kindly agreed to launch the Canadian Walk for Veterans weekend by singing O Canada and his beautiful song, A Pittance of Time. So that became the beginning of a great partnership. And now here we are working together on Operation A Pittance of Time as well.
Wonderful. We'll talk in
Well,
details. Yes, Terry?
Yeah, so actually, as Mark mentioned, this all came to fruition as a result of Quebec, when they actually kind of connected us together. So when I heard about Mark and the initiative of the Canadian Walk for Veterans through them, I said, we need to get in touch with this guy. Now, so it was me chasing you, Mark, I think. So,
Not the other way around. Absolutely.
we had a common interest where before we even met Harpreet, we kind of instinctively knew that we probably had something in common and that we wanted to share one another's connections and our commitment to our servicemen and women. And one of the things that Mark mentioned earlier about our servicemen and women is that we also have to show gratitude for them because of what they do here domestically, for floods, for hurricanes, for fires, and more recently, the way they helped with the COVID situation in Quebec and other seniors' homes, to really get in there in the thick of things and help our medical workers do what they needed to do in some pretty difficult situations with COVID so rampant,
Very true. Gentlemen, it's time for a short break. We'll go for a break. We'll be back. And from here, we'll continue after this break about in details as to what is this Operation A Pittance of Time and how have you involved the Canadians as such and what all in future we can see about this operation. So let's go for a short break. We'll be shortly back.
ਕੁਦਰਤ ਦੇ ਸੌਮਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਵਰਤੋਂ ਆਯੁਰਵੇਦਾ ਰਾਹੀਂ 5000 ਸਾਲਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਚੱਲਦੀ ਆ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੀ ਬਣਾਏ ਗਏ ਹੈਲਥ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਅਪਰੂਵਡ 100% ਸ਼ੁੱਧ ਆਯੁਰਵੈਦਿਕ ਡਾਇਟਰੀ ਸਪਲੀਮੈਂਟਸ ਦਾ ਲਾਭ ਲੈ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਸਟ੍ਰੈਸ, ਐਂਗਜ਼ਾਇਟੀ, ਇਨਸੋਮਨੀਆ, ਬਲੱਡ ਸ਼ੂਗਰ, ਕਿਡਨੀ, ਬਲੈਡਰ, ਹਾਜ਼ਮਾ, ਆਈਸਾਈਟ ਜਾਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਕਿਸਮ ਦੀ ਬਿਮਾਰੀ ਦਾ ਆਰਗੈਨਿਕ ਇਲਾਜ, ਜੋੜਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਦਰਦਾਂ ਤੇ ਸਰੀਰਕ ਮਸਾਜ ਲਈ ਕਈ ਕਿਸਮ ਦੇ ਆਯੁਰਵੈਦਿਕ ਤੇਲ ਵੀ ਉਪਲਬਧ ਹਨ। ਹੋਲਸੇਲ ਕੀਮਤਾਂ ਲਈ ਕਾਲ 604 628 2000।
ਕੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਰੀ, ਡੈਲਟਾ, ਰਿਚਮੰਡ, ਐਬਸਫੋਰਡ ਜਾਂ ਵੈਂਕੂਵਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਵਾਂ ਘਰ ਬਣਾਉਣ ਬਾਰੇ ਸੋਚ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਪੁਰਾਣੇ ਘਰ ਨੂੰ ਰੈਨੋਵੇਟ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ? ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਲੋੜ ਹੈ ਇੱਕ ਤਜਰਬੇਕਾਰ ਬਿਲਡਰ
ਡਾਕਟਰ ਸਤਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ,
ਇੱਕ ਕ੍ਰੀਏਟਿਵ ਇੰਟੀਰੀਅਰ ਡਿਜ਼ਾਈਨਰ ਦੀ ਜੋ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਹੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਗਾਈਡ ਕਰ ਸਕਣ ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸੁਪਨੇ ਦੇ ਘਰ ਨੂੰ ਉਸਾਰ ਸਕਣ। ਅੱਜ ਹੀ ਕਾਲ ਕਰੋ ਹਰਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਜਾਂ ਸੰਦੀਪ 6048259295 ਉੱਤੇ।
ਸ਼ਾਈਨ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਡੈਂਟਲ ਕਲੀਨਿਕ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਸਤਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਦੀ ਦੇਖਰੇਖ ਹੇਠ ਆਧੁਨਿਕ ਮਸ਼ੀਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਵਰਤੋਂ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਦੰਦਾਂ ਦੀ ਸਹੀ ਕੇਅਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਨ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਸੇਵਾਵਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੰਦਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਾਫ਼ ਕਰਨਾ, ਕਰਾਊਨਸ, ਬ੍ਰਿਜਸ, ਡੈਂਟਲ ਇੰਪਲਾਂਟਸ, ਰੂਟ ਕਨਾਲ, ਡੈਂਚਰਸ, ਬੌਂਡਿੰਗ ਅਤੇ ਵਨੀਰਸ, ਐਕਸਟ੍ਰੈਕਸ਼ਨਸ, ਬੋਨ ਕ੍ਰੈਫਟਿੰਗ ਆਦਿ ਸ਼ਾਮਲ ਹਨ। ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਡੈਂਟਿਸਟਰੀ ਦੇ ਵੀ ਮਾਹਰ ਹਨ। ਇਹ ਇੰਸ਼ੋਰੈਂਸ ਕੰਪਨੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਡਾਇਰੈਕਟਲੀ ਬਿੱਲ ਭੇਜਦੇ ਹਨ ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਘੱਟ ਤੋਂ ਘੱਟ ਚਾਰਜ ਕਰਨ ਦਾ ਵਾਅਦਾ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਨ। ਫॉर ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲ ਸ਼ਾਈਨ ਐਂਡ ਸਮਾਈਲ 604 503 0320 ਤੇ ਕਾਲ ਕਰੋ। ਕਿੰਗ ਜਾਰਜ ਸੁਪਰ ਸਟੋਰ ਦੇ ਕੋਲ, ਯੂਨਿਟ 370, 7488 ਕਿੰਗ ਜਾਰਜ ਬੁਲੇਵਾਰਡ, ਸਰੀ।
ਜੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸਮੈਨ ਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਪਿਆਰ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਕੀ ਵਜ੍ਹਾ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈ? ਸੁਖੀ ਬਾਟ ਮੋਟਰਸ ਦੇ ਓਨਰ ਸੁਖੀ ਬਾਟ ਨੂੰ ਵੇਖ ਕੇ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਸਮਝ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਇੰਟੈਲੀਜੈਂਸ ਦਾ ਉਦਾਹਰਨ ਇਹ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਕਾਰ ਸੈਗਮੈਂਟ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਖ ਸੁਖੀ ਬਾਟ ਮੋਟਰਸ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਏ ਨੇ ਸਰੀ ਦਾ ਪਹਿਲਾ ਟਰੱਕ ਸੈਂਟਰ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਲੋੜ ਦੇ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਲੋੜੀਂਦੇ ਟਰੱਕਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਗਾਈਡੈਂਸ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਸਪੇਸ, ਮੋਡੀਫਿਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਤੇ ਫਿਊਲ ਐਫੀਸ਼ੀਐਂਸੀ ਸਭ ਨੂੰ ਧਿਆਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ। ਸੁਖੀ ਬਾਟ ਟਰੱਕ ਸੈਂਟਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਟਰੱਕਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਹੈ ਟੌਰ।
Once again, welcome back to the program. Today is a special program. We are paying homage to our veterans serving as well as those who fought in the world wars. And today is the day when Canadians salute our soldiers because it is because of them that we are enjoying this freedom. Today I have the great honor of having two gentlemen, Mark Burchell and Terry Kelly, who are talking to us on this important aspect, and also a new operation called Operation Pittance of Time has been initiated. So we'll get them back shortly, but before that, we would like to let you know about our sponsor for today's program. This program has been brought to you with the support of AMC Insurance. If you're looking for home, auto, travel, business, life or recreational insurance, you can depend upon them. They have 9 offices in the lower mainland to serve you, and they're open 7 days a week from 8:30 a.m. onwards till 9 p.m. Call 604-507-6666. Our next supporter is Ahi Transportation Group. They have been in the transportation and storage industry since 1993. And the motto is your cargo is our responsibility. So if you want to send your goods anywhere in Canada, you can depend upon them. 604-940-9511 and their address is 8970 River Road, Delta. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਘਰ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਨਵੀਂ ਤੇ ਵੱਖਰੀ ਦਿੱਖ ਦੇਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਐਕਮੀ ਗਲਾਸ ਲਿਮਟਿਡ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਮਦਦ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਨ। ਫਰੇਮਲੈਸ ਗਲਾਸ ਰੇਲਿੰਗਸ, ਕਸਟਮ ਵੁੱਡ ਕਲੋਜ਼ਟਸ, ਸ਼ਾਵਰ ਤੇ ਟੱਬ ਡੋਰ, ਸ਼ਾਵਰ ਸਲਾਈਡਰਸ, ਬੇਵਲਡ ਵੁੱਡ ਜਾਂ ਮੈਟਲ ਟ੍ਰਿਮ ਮਿਰਰਸ ਤੇ ਕਸਟਮ ਗਲਾਸ ਵਰਕ ਦੀ ਮੁਹਾਰਤ ਰੱਖਦੇ ਹਨ। ਵਾਜਬ ਕੀਮਤਾਂ, ਕੁਆਲਿਟੀ, ਕਰਾਫਟਸਮੈਨਸ਼ਿਪ ਤੇ ਹਾਈ ਕੁਆਲਿਟੀ ਲਈ ਇਹ ਜਾਣੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹਨ। ਆਪਣੇ ਨਵੇਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਜੈਕਟ ਦਾ ਰਿਨੋਵੇਟ ਕਰਨ ਜਾਵੇ ਕਰ ਲਈ ਕਾਲ ਕਰੋ 604-543-837 604 543 8777. Let's get back our guests once again and continue with our discussion. So once again, welcome both of you, Mark and Terry. Operation Pittance of Time. Could you elaborate what is this operation and why you have initiated this, Terry?
So I guess I'll answer the why question first. There over the years, people have traditionally gone to the cenotaph every November 11th, and it's dropped off, and it's come up, and it's dropped off, and of course, when I wrote this song, back in about 2002, it was released, and when I wrote this song, I was asking people to take a pittance of time and to honor our veterans, the servicemen and women, and their families. And a pittance of time, I said, 2 minutes is just a pittance of time. Surely we can stop for a moment and do that. And I had a vision, Harpreet, for the whole country to stop at 11 a.m. in every time zone across the country. I thought, wouldn't that be cool if that could happen? And so that kind of sat on the back burner for a long time. And then this year, I was having a chat with one of my honorary colonel friends, and we decided, hey, let's get this thing going. And then, perfect timing, we end up meeting Mark. And so Mark had understood the vision right away. So we said, because sometimes people aren't able to go to a cenotaph, and they think, if I can't go to the cenotaph, that means I don't stop for 2 minutes. So we said, what about if we could encourage people to stop for even 30 seconds? My wife likes to say, have people go for a walk and meditate. So a meditative walk kind of thing. And you could do anything you want, but just maybe stop and feel gratitude in your heart for our freedom, to celebrate and to be grateful for our servicemen and women. So 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 90 seconds. Some people might be able to afford 2 hours, but pick some time, and you don't necessarily have to go to the cenotaph. Do it at the end of your driveway, in your backyard, around the table with your family.
So very rightly said, Terry, that this operation, what you have initiated, it's asking the people to remember the sacrifices of our veterans. But before I go further and talk to you on this subject, Mark, this year has been a different year. You know, today we saw that because of COVID, while you had gone to the Senate-off earlier, but what did you see and what did you observe? How did people celebrate this particular day today?
Well, Harpreet, you know, as I was fortunate that I lived close to the cenotaph in White Rock, and there were a number of us, a small group that went down while socially distancing, and we laid a few wreaths. So there were a few government officials there, the local leaders of the community who actually went to the cenotaph. But you know, people were all over the community. Were taking a pittance of time, whether it's 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 2 minutes. And doing it in their homes, in their yards, going out for a walk, just taking a moment of remembrance, to remember what a wonderful lifestyle we live here in Canada, the freedoms that we have, and the people who gave it to us.
Mm-hmm. And Terry, lest we forget, that is the slogan that we gave on this particular day. And we remember the sacrifices of all the soldiers who have served or are serving. Being an honorary colonel, what would you like to tell us today as to the pride what one has once you wear the uniform? But we are also seeing on the other hand that especially the servicemen are feeling kind of sidelined. What do you feel? What should the community at large come forward, and how can that respect be always, not just for a day, but for it should be a continuous affair?
Well, one of the responsibilities of an honorary colonel, Harpreet, is to make a connection between the military, the Air Force, Navy, Army, wherever you are fortunate to be serving. So to make a connection between, in my case, the Air Force and the community. And so, and what typically happens is that someone who's named as honorary colonel plays some role in the community, and they use their gifts and their contacts and their skills to marry the community with the Air Force, Army, or Navy. So in my situation, I used music to create the conduit between the Air Force and the people. Right. And so, you know, I perform Christmas concerts, I perform at mess dinners, and I, you know, sometimes just go to see the squadrons and play a tune for them, and then also spend time with them just talking and also finding out how the squadrons and the wing in my situation would like to connect with the community. But the job is to do that, and so that's part of my job and my commitment, and also to make sure you know that I'm very fortunate to be in this role, and so I need to make sure that I take that seriously and have that happen.
Great. It's again time for a short break. We'll go for a break. We'll be back, and from here we'll continue with the discussion. And as you said, your beautiful song, that also we would like to share with our viewers shortly. After this break, we'll be back, and we'll continue for some more time and learn a little bit more, and then we'll go for a video which has been shared by you, and we'll share that with our viewers. So let's get back to the short break.
ਭਾਰਤ ਪੈਸੇ ਭੇਜਣੇ ਹੋਣ ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਮੰਗਵਾਉਣੇ ਹੋਣ ਤੇ ਯਾਦ ਰੱਖੋ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਫੋਰੈਕਸ ਨੂੰ ਤਸੱਲੀਬਖਸ਼ ਸੇਵਾਵਾਂ ਅਤੇ ਵਧੀਆ ਰੇਟ ਦੇਣ ਦੀ ਇਹ ਗਾਰੰਟੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਨ। ਅੱਜ ਹੀ ਕਾਲ ਕਰੋ 6043491313 ਉੱਤੇ।
ਲੈਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਨਵੇਂ ਤੇ ਵਧੀਆ ਅਪਲਾਈਐਂਸਸ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਕਿ ਸਟੋਵ, ਓਵਨ, ਫ੍ਰਿਜ, ਵਾਸ਼ਰ ਡਰਾਇਰ, ਮਾਈਕ੍ਰੋਵੇਵ, ਫ੍ਰੀਜ਼ਰਸ ਜਾਂ ਡਿਸ਼ਵਾਸ਼ਰ ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਪਹੁੰਚੋ ਪ੍ਰੀਮੀਅਮ ਅਪਲਾਈਐਂਸਸ ਤੇ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ 3 ਬ੍ਰਾਂਚਸ ਸਰੀ, ਐਬਟਸਫੋਰਡ ਤੇ ਚਿਲਵੈਕ ਵਿੱਚ ਹਨ। ਇੱਥੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਵਾਜਬ ਕੀਮਤਾਂ ਤੇ ਅਪਲਾਈਐਂਸਸ ਮਿਲਣਗੇ। ਇਹ ਡਿਲੀਵਰੀ ਤੇ ਇੰਸਟਾਲੇਸ਼ਨ ਵੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਨ। ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲ ਪੈਕੇजेस ਫॉर ਬਿਲਡਰਸ ਐਂਡ ਹੋਮ ਓਨਰਸ। ਕਾਲ 6045904140 604 590 4140। ਦਰਦ ਤੋਂ ਆਰਾਮ ਐਲੋਪੈਥਿਕ ਦਵਾਈਆਂ ਖਾਣ ਨਾਲ ਆ ਤਾਂ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ, ਪਰ ਇਸ ਦੇ ਸਾਈਡ ਇਫੈਕਟਸ ਵੀ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਨ। ਨੈਚੁਰਲ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਸਪਲੀਮੈਂਟਸ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਦਰਦ ਨੂੰ ਜੜੋਂ ਖਤਮ ਕਰਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਮਾਰਕਸ ਫਾਰਮੇਸੀ ਦੇ ਹਿੰਦੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਬੋਲਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਸਟਾਫ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਮਦਦ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਨ। ਇਹ ਆਪਣੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਡਕਟਸ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ ਹਰ ਹਿੱਸੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਭੇਜਦੇ ਹਨ। ਅਪਾਇੰਟਮੈਂਟ ਬੁੱਕ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਅੱਜ ਹੀ ਕਾਲ ਕਰੋ 604 596 1774 ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਵਿਜ਼ਿਟ ਕਰੋ 8035 120 ਸਟਰੀਟ ਡੈਲਟਾ। ਦਰਦ ਨੂੰ ਜੜੋਂ ਖਤਮ ਕਰੋ।
Finally, ride-hailing is here. Fast, convenient, Lucky to Go is British Columbia's first ride-hailing app that integrates licensed drivers in one place, so your next ride is always right around the corner. Need to get to a big meeting or hit the gym? Maybe a celebratory drink after closing a big deal? Why wait? Spend your time enjoying your time. Lucky to Go. Wherever you need to be, we're here.
Once again, welcome back to the program. Today's program has been brought to you with the support of Honorary Immigration Consulting Incorporated. If you are wanting a temporary status, you have that. You are looking for PR, you're new to Canada, international students, citizenship, hiring foreign workers, express entry, sponsorship of parents and grandparents, electronic travel authorization. You can call Neera Agnihotri, who has been a certified immigration consultant since 2006. You can depend upon her for honest and reliable information. For more inquiries, call 604-597-2284. 604-597-2284. Address is 12788 76A Avenue, Surrey. Certified Immigration Consultant Neera Agnihotri. ਘਰ ਦੀ ਸ਼ਾਨ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿਚਨ ਤੇ ਇਸਨੂੰ ਸੋਨਾ ਬਣਾਉਣ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੈਸਟ ਹੋਮ ਕਿਚਨ ਕੈਬਨਿਟਸ ਲੋਅਰ ਮੇਨਲੈਂਡ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾਣੀ ਪਛਾਣੀ ਕੰਪਨੀ ਹਨ। ਕਸਟਮ ਹਾਈ ਐਂਡ ਘਰਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਮਲਟੀ ਯੂਨਿਟ ਪ੍ਰੋਜੈਕਟਸ ਇਹ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਹਰ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦਾ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲ ਕੈਬਨਿਟ ਦਾ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਾਉਣ ਲਈ ਬੈਸਟ ਹੋਮ ਕਿਚਨ ਕੈਬਨਿਟਸ ਨੂੰ ਯਾਦ ਰੱਖੋ। ਕਾਲ ਕਰੋ ਸੁਰਜੀਤ ਤੇ 0604-591-8171 604 591 8171। So once again, welcome back, and we'll get back our guests, Terry Kelly and Mark Burchell. So Mark, before the break, Terry answered his role as a honorary colonel as to what role does he play. A Canadian Walk of Veterans we have seen is also acted as a bridge between the common man and the defense services. So what would you like to say, as I asked the question that lest we forget, this is a day when we remember them, but how are you feeling, what needs to be done more at the community level so that the due respect which our veterans command, that should be given to them?
Well, you know, Harpreet, we as Canadians, we celebrate freedom every single day. And because it's the lifestyle we live, we tend to take it for granted. And Remembrance Day is generally perceived as a day that we remember the fallen, and generally from a previous generation, from the First World War, Second World War, and the Korean War. But the Canadian Walk for Veterans was founded to thank those veterans, and many of them are in their 20s and 30s, the new generation of veterans, but it's there to thank them while they're still among us. So, we have one day, Remembrance Day, when we thank all veterans for their service and for what they've done to provide Canada with the freedoms we enjoy. But the Canadian Walk for Veterans is just another day, and it's a day to walk shoulder to shoulder for the Canadian public to pay tribute to those who are still among us, and the opportunity for them to hear us say thank you. And really, we should be thanking them all day long, every single day of the year. But at the very minimum, we need to thank them on Remembrance Day for their sacrifices, and certainly come on out at the annual Canadian Walk for Veterans, and we went virtual this year, so you don't have to be in one of the cities that we hold the walk. People can register and walk just like Operation A Pittance of Time. They can do their Canadian Walk for Veterans wherever they want, anytime they want, that's convenient to them over the weekend of the Walk for Veterans. But at the very minimum, just take a moment and just be grateful. And that is how Canadians can show their appreciation all year round, is just be grateful to live in the greatest country on earth, and just remember those who sacrificed to give it to us.
Absolutely.
And Harpreet,
yes,
the other thing that just occurred to me is that you don't have to be an honorary colonel, as you can see with Mark and Canadian Walk for Veterans. Every Canadian, in their own particular way, can contribute to showing gratitude. And in fact, I think it's important that we all, every individual, find a way to celebrate the freedom that we experience. So even after my term as honorary colonel finishes, Operation A Pittance of Time will continue on, and I'll be a citizen continuing to do the work that we're doing now. And Mark is not an honorary colonel, but he does the work of an honorary colonel.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Terry, as you've already said, that this operation is going to continue. So if somebody wants more information about it, where can they go? Any website where they can log on and get more information about this project?
So Mark, you can tell about Canadian Walk for Veterans, and I'll mention how the Operation A Pittance of Time can connect. So
anybody wanting to know about the Canadian Walk for Veterans, Canadian Walk for Veterans, 4 words, .com. But Terry has his own website as well. I'll let him talk about it. But we also are very active on Facebook. And in fact, that's one of the things that we asked people to do this year, is to take their pittance of time, the few moments that they paid tribute to our veterans, and take a picture, take a video, and post it on our Operation A Pittance of Time Facebook page. And people have been sharing with us how they plan to do it, and today they shared with us how they actually did it.
Right.
And to simplify it, Harpreet, so if people go to Operation A Pittance of Time Facebook group right now, then they can connect to Canadian Walk for Veterans, as well as a whole number of other things that we've put up there over the last number of days. And as Mark says, there are people who've been sharing their stories about their grandparents, about the younger people who have served. And as Mark said, we are hoping that we're later in the day now, and we want to make sure that anyone who took any pictures or took video clips of what they did at 11 o'clock this morning, that they post it up on Operation Pittance of Time, so the whole country can see what they've done.
Wonderful. Gentlemen, it was a pleasure talking to you, and thank you very much, Terry. I know it's very late at your place, but thank you for sparing your time and being with us, with our viewers all over the world. And we salute you for your services to Canada, and also Mark, thank you for your services through Canadian Walk for Veterans. Thank you very much. And before I let you go, let's see this beautiful video which has been provided to us by you, which really shows, and we would love this song. Everybody will be loving this song. Let's see this video.
Help Canadians reflect and rededicate time to honor vets and others.
So the goal of Operation A Pittance of Time is to have people, for those people who are unable to make it to a cenotaph, for people who, because of work, because of obligations, aren't able to take 2 minutes maybe, we're asking Canadians to take 30 seconds, 60 seconds, take a minute,
They fought and some died for their homeland. They fought and some died, now it's our land.
This Remembrance Day, as we acknowledge the courage and sacrifice of our men and women in uniform, let's also grant them a moment of quiet reflection, a pittance of time.
Take a pittance of time.
Terry Kelly is a musician who puts into song thoughts shared by many Canadians. Kelly and Dan Hennessy are both honorary colonels, and their role is to reach out to communities in various ways. In this case, encouraging us all to take some time, a pittance of time. The Canadian Honorary Colonel Program and this partnership has made Operation A Pittance of Time possible.
I think a lot of the program itself, the Honorary Colonel Program in Canada, I think what they try to do, the mandate, is to connect somebody that is embedded within their community. And the role is simple. You are a liaison between the squadron or wing and your community. So you've got that sphere of influence that you've developed as a civilian. And I mean, at the end of the day, we are civilians in uniform.
Although both are civilians, military culture has guided them deeply in different ways.
Air Cadets was a natural for me. And I mean, to be able to be immersed into that environment as a 13-year-old bright-eyed teenager was amazing. I got to see lots of things. I got to fly in lots of aircraft, and I learned life skills.
I was 7 years old when I went to the School for the Blind, and I left home in September. I was there till June, 9 months. And my surrogate parents, most of them were retired Army, Air Force, Navy people. When Mr. Fraser said one time, Kelly, you know, you're blind, get over it. But guess what? They showed us how to get over it by teaching us to use our gifts, the things that we could do. So the blind part of it all became secondary. And that's what we're asking Canadians to do, to find a way to give gratitude for what we have. And how can you
is a large part of Remembrance Day, but military personnel continue to make the ultimate sacrifice.
For us here at 12 Wing, Remembrance Day this year will have a different flavor with the loss of Stalker 2-2. And me personally, having been present during the crash and remembering my 6 friends that I lost during that tragic incident, this is also the time we stop and remember not just them, but also their families, their kids who will grow up without a dad or without an aunt, without a brother or sister. So this is the day to stop what you're doing in your really busy tempo life and just remember them.
We need to work this as a catalyst to have people constantly remembering the sacrifices that people have made and continue to make for our freedom, for our way of life. We get to live an incredible life.
You know the essence and the message of gratitude that comes from Remembrance Day can be lived in the heart of every child, every adult, for the whole year.
Expressing that gratitude for the whole year could also extend to others.
There's a lot of sacrifice for this. And it's not just the military, it can be the firefighters, the police officers, the nurse in this COVID environment. So all those sacrifices, what we're pausing to remember on Remembrance Day. Yes, it's a little bit more focused on the military, but take the time and really think about all the sacrifice that were done by other people to allow you to have the life you're living right now. And yeah, thank them in your head. Just take that minute of silence and really thank
Wow, that was a beautiful video. Thank you very much, Terry, for sharing this with us. And thanks once again, Terry Kelly and Mark Burchell, for your services. Thank you very much.
Harpreet, thank you for what you're doing for Canadians as well. And you should be honorary colonel as well with the work you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Harpreet.
Thank you. So these were our two guests, and on today's special program, we salute our soldiers, our veterans, and all those who have protected us and they gave us this freedom. Thank you very much for watching this program. And if you like this program, we would seek your support. Please go to youtube.com/Harpreet Singh Show, and you can subscribe to this channel, and also on the Facebook, The Harpreet Singh Show. With this, I conclude today's program. Thank you once again. Have a safe evening, stay safe, and stay healthy.